Yo dudes!
So welcome to super tasty cashew stroganoff with mushroom bake.
This will take about 30 to 40 minutes to make, feed 6 people, cost you about €8 to make, and is incredibly tasty!
This is a great one for any non-vegan you want to make, for any centerpiece. It works as a really good dinner, freezes well, refrigerate as well, and it is so worth making.
First step, we get a pan on high heat. We're gonna add in a tablespoon of oil. In goes our oil. So our pan is nice and hot. The way you'll know is just by holding your hand over it. It should feel nice and hot. So in terms of our base flavors, we've got 1 red onion, which we've kind of diced, and we've got 2 cloves of garlic. Pan is hot, oil is gonna help the temperature elevate, so we're gonna get more caramelization.
Okay, so just to talk to you a framework that will illustrate how lots of these components can be changed and you can flex and expand them. So in terms of base vegetables, we've gone with garlic and onion. Obviously, you could replace the onion with shallot, leek. You could use white onion.
You could use spring onion, you could use pearl onions. But
you could add ginger and chili if you wanted.
But in terms of the volume, we've gone with 200 grams of base flavor. Then we're gonna go with 1 kilo of vegetables. And in terms of veg, we're gonna go for this. We're gonna go with sweet potato, oyster mushroom, and then bean. So that's our full kilo together. So you could replace them with any other type of veg that you like, but try to keep it within the kilo range.
So obviously it could be 1 kilo of bean or 1 kilo of veg or a mixture of both of them. And in terms of sauce, we've got approximately 800 ml of sauce, and then we're gonna put the topping on top of it. So this can expand and flex to whatever you want it to be. Whatever you have in your fridge, really. Okay, so we fried up our onion and garlic for approximately 3 minutes until they start to brown.
And they're starting to brown. Browning is an indication of flavor development.
Next up, we're gonna add in our veg. We're starting with the mushrooms first. I've got 300 grams of oyster mushrooms.
So we've added in our oyster mushroom, in go our sweet potato. We're gonna add in a nice generous pinch of salt. What the salt is gonna do, it's gonna draw moisture out of the sweet potato and the mushroom. There's a surprising amount of moisture in mushroom.
And the nature of sweating is you're gonna pop the lid on, gonna reduce the temperature to medium,
and we're gonna allow them kind of stew in their own juices. It's called sweating.
Okay, so while our veg is stewing, so as Stephen said, we've got approximately 500 grams of veg there, and we've got 500 grams of bean. So in terms of sauce, as we said, we're gonna make about 800 ml of sauce. You can replace it with tomato sauce or coconut milk-based sauce. But in this context, we're gonna make a cashew cream. So I'm gonna use a high-speed blender. Into that, I'm gonna add 150 grams of cashew nuts. These are raw cashew nuts.
You could use roasted if you want to add more flavor.
I've got about 650 ml of oat milk. Obviously, you could use rice or almond or whatever non-dairy milk you prefer to use. And on top of that, I find tamari just goes really, really well. It goes really well with mushrooms and any kind of stroganoff-based dish. It really is the base of the flavor. We're gonna go with about 2 tablespoons of tamari.
Next step, in terms of adding more flavor and base flavors, we've got 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and we've got 1 teaspoon of salt.
Mustard goes great in any cashew cream. I'm going in with 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard.
And again, this is a stroganoff that we're going to base our sauce around. So stroganoff would traditionally have a little bit of mustard note to it. We're going to go with juice of half a lemon. The acidity is going to just cut through this kind of creamy sauce and the fat from the cashews and kind of add another dimension of flavor to it.
And then literally it's just a matter of popping the lid on and we'll blend until it's smooth. High-speed blender is great in this context because it'll make it super, super smooth and creamy. Okay, so great thing, what you'll always do with a sauce is make sure and taste it and ensure that it's to the flavor which you want. Obviously, it will concentrate as soon as we add it and we put it in the oven.
Ooh, a lot of flavor there.
Amazing, beautiful umami flavor from the tamari. The mustard goes really well and balances it. That is perfect, good to go. Okay, so we stewed our veg down for approximately 10 minutes. Everything's starting to brown. The oyster mushrooms are starting to brown. The sweet potato is nice and soft and it's cooked through.
Yeah, so the measure of knowing that you've kind of stewed or kind of sweated your veg up is that the sweet potato should be soft and cooked.
Okay, so we've got 1 tin of berlotti beans, approximately a drained weight of 250 grams. I'm gonna add them to the pan now. In on top of this, we're gonna add our sauce. So as I said, we've got approximately 800 ml of sauce. This is super substantial and tasty.
So right now I'm just gonna bring this to the boil. As it starts to boil, I'm gonna reduce it to a simmer and leave it to cook for about kind of 5 to 10 minutes until the sauce thickens and it starts to evaporate and concentrate more.
Okay, so we've allowed this to reduce for probably only about 3 minutes. It's come together nicely, it's intensified and it's concentrated a bit more.
And you'll see the sauce is starting to stick to the bottom. That's kind of ready to go. And it will thicken further when it is baked.
Okay, so time to get your baked dish. So we're just going with a typical lasagna type dish or shepherdless pie dish. This will serve something like 6 people. We're gonna pop it down. So we'll add in our base veg sauce and beans. The smells are fantastic. It's really, really aromatic. It's fantastic.
And the mushrooms add a real kind of meatiness to this whole dish.
Okay, so taking a mixing bowl, I'm gonna add in, I've got 200 grams of oat flakes. Use gluten-free if you want it to be gluten-free. You can use jumbo regular, could I use better in this context? We're gonna add a decent handful of flaked almonds. We're gonna add in a couple of handfuls of pumpkin seeds just to give a bit of color and contrast.
I'm gonna add a little pinch of salt. If you like chili, you can put a little bit of chili and help cut through kind of the richness of the sauce. I'm gonna go with a pinch of black pepper.
And we'll go in with approximately 2 to 3 tablespoons of oil. This is what's gonna bind it all together. It'll add a little bit of fat so it'll golden up and it'll really taste fantastic as a topping. So in terms of, we're just gonna pop our topping on top of our dish.
And try not to go too thick in terms of your topping, because if it's too thick, the topping is gonna steam as opposed to bake. We want it to caramelize and to brown all over.
Almost like a granola.
Obviously, as Stephen said, chili flakes, fresh thyme would go nice through it. Any kind of mixed dried herbs would go well through it too. Even pink peppercorn go pretty good. So that's a nice light topping. Don't go too much because it'll steam as opposed to baking. When it steams, it won't go crispy, and what we want is crisp. We preheated our oven to 180 degrees. We're gonna bake this for about 10-15 minutes, just until the topping starts to go golden and crispy.
So the bake's been in the oven for approximately 15 minutes. It's starting to golden up and it's ready to go.
Woo!
So make sure and use a decent towel or oven cloth. It looks fantastic. It's starting to golden up. You can see it's bubbling up around the sides and the room is smelling fantastic. So there you have it, super tasty bake. This is a really good stroganoff, creamy, delicious cashew sauce.
The bit that's amazing is you get this lovely creamy base with this kind of mushroom grizzle. Then you get the contrast of the crunchy nut, seed and grain topping. The sauce is so concentrated and packed full of flavor. Like, this is a dish that you cook for anyone who is not vegan that kind of goes, no, I don't think your food's that tasty. This is phenomenally tasty. This is a taste sensation.
Ooh. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you do make this, let us know below what you think. Share it with anyone you think would like some vegan inspiration, particularly a bake like this. Great for families. It'll serve 6 people. It'll probably take about 30 to 40 minutes to make. And I reckon it'll cost you about less than €6 to make.
Wonderful centerpiece dish. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and ciao! Cheers.